Welcome back to Teresa's Dead. My name is Theresa and I'm very much ham. Hi, how are you? I have an awful garbage filthy mouth, so viewer discretion is advised. But if you're not into that or weird shit in general, this is definitely not the place for you. Feel free to X out the video here. No harm, no foul, but I'll remember our time fondly. Okay, so hi, look how nice and crisp this looks, right? I know. All right, we have a good old-fashioned declutter. I haven't done a declutter in a hot minute, and since we are on the cusp of spring, I feel like it's just that time to go through my makeup and get rid of the things that I either just don't use anymore because either I fell out of love with it, or it's just too old, or maybe it's just not for me. Whatever the case may be is, some of these products you may like, they may be your favorites, and that's fine. You're great. You're wonderful. You're Linda Evangelista. We love that for you. But I don't want them anymore. And I don't care. So here's a couple of ground rules. Number one, please don't beg for anything in the comments. Don't be a weirdo. Don't be you. Number two, don't get all weird if I may not like something. It's fine. We all have opinions. Just know you're wrong. And number three, have fun. Have a snack. And just relax. Take a load off. You've had a hard day. You deserve to relax with my hands. Ew, that was disgusting. Anyway, before I get all weird and disgusting and gross about my spring declutter, a word from today's sponsor. Thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring today's video. Thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring today's ridiculousness. I've been using HelloFresh for eons, and I have to say it just gets better and better and better. If you're like me, someone that can somehow burn water, this is for you. You can create delicious meals in little to no time with HelloFresh's chef-crafted seasonal recipes that come with ingredients already pre-portioned and beautiful, easy-to-follow instructions. So all you have to do is cook and enjoy. What is great about HelloFresh is that you can customize anything and everything. Maybe you want to swap a protein or switch a side. Or maybe you like the veggie options, but you just want to add a protein. You can do anything and everything your heart desires, my little pumpkin. And with the cost of groceries increasing because inflation is no joke, now is the best time to get started with HelloFresh. HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and up to 70% less expensive than dining at the fanciest of restaurants. Make mealtime easy with delicious recipes made with fresh, wholesome ingredients delivered to your door. No lines, no hassle, just great tasting meals you can whip up and enjoy in the comfort of your home. Let HelloFresh turn you into the egomaniacal chef that you were always meant to be. Your loved ones will scream, "Yes, chef!" in fear and admiration when you dazzle them with soy glazed salmon with rice or mushroom and chive risotto. Your loved ones will agree that fear never tasted so good. That said, go to HelloFresh.com and use code TeresaIsDead60 for 60% off plus free shipping. Again, that's HelloFresh.com and use code TeresaIsDead60 for 60% off plus free shipping. Thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get to the decluttering. Also, these are in no particular order, and I will explain why I'm decluttering them. This should be interesting. Let's start with this. This came out last year. I hate this thing. I hate this thing. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I think I am kind of on a break with Pat McGrath. There was something about this collection that just really rubbed me the wrong way. And this palette, which is, you know, listen, it's not a cheap palette by any means. It's 80 bucks. This quality is not the quality that you will find in some of the bigger $125 palettes. Shit, even some of the fucking $65 palettes. Those have far better quality than whatever this is. This was patchy, this was messy, and it just did not work. I was so impressed with the color story, and I was so let down with how just fucking gross the formula is. So no, for shame, Pat McGrath, for shame. The next palette is from Violet Voss. I know, Violet Voss, the one brand that has usually the shittiest kind of packaging. And not that it's a shitty packaging in the sense that this is probably the nicest Violet Voss palette. The font and everything is not offensive. Anyway, I do like Violet Voss's quality, but this is a palette that I just haven't really played with or reached for in a while. It was fine. I don't have anything bad to say about it. It's just something that I don't reach for. So it's like, why am I keeping this when this can go to a good home? So, bye. Ooh, bitch. I wanted to love this palette. I really did. But this, oh, God, it pains me to get rid of it because I love the packaging. This is Moonspell Volume 2. Moonspell Volume 1 was so much better. This was just a fucking mess. The mattes, the shimmers, everything was just really just not good formula in my opinion. And it was such a departure from the brand. I really do love Lunar Beauty. I love their releases, but this was just one that I was like side-eyeing. It was not it. It's a shame because the packaging is everything, but it's just not that good. So this is gonna live on somewhere else and disappoint someone else. Okay. This is funny because, can I tell you, I pined after this fucking palette. I pined for it because I was like, oh my God, like Tarte, like toasted. When this came out, I think it was like 2017. I was like, I want this palette. Never picked it up. Never picked it up. Then I was like, you know what? Today's the day, bitch. I went and I picked it up. This was horrible. You know what? Sometimes when they say never meet your heroes, never meet your heroes. This was just really disappointing. It was chalky. It was powdery. The pigment did not last on my eyes. It was a patchy mess at times. The shimmers are lackluster. Everything about it just like, no. It's a no, 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 no. I'm so sad because I pined after this little fuck face and it turned out to be like one of the worst decisions I've ever made. So, bye. Okay. You're gonna see a theme that a lot of it's newer releases, but like I can't fake it. You know what I mean? I just can't fake it. Dude. Okay, this is the Empowered palette. This was disappointing on so many levels. I wanted to like this. I really did. I tried my little hardest. I love the palette before, which I believe is the Quartz palette. Rose Quartz, I wanna say. I think that's the name of it. Anyway, that palette was fantastic, phenomenal. I was hoping that this would be the same quality. It was not. It was just so not it. It wasn't even special. There's nothing special about this fucking almost $70 palette. It's really disappointing actually. And then also you have like these really weird like jelly-like shades over here like that just don't do anything. Like why the fuck is that in the palette? I need these brands to stop coming out with like these glossy shades. Who are they for? What the fuck do you, like what are they meant for? Who wants a glossy eyeball? Who the hell wants that? Anyway, this was so disappointing. The golds were flaky and gross. The mattes were just kind of underwhelming. I don't know, there's nothing good about this palette. This was like one of the worst things I've tried in 2022. And I was like, why am I holding on to this? I'm never gonna fucking use this. So I'm going to give this a good home. Next we have is from Patrick Ta, and this is actually Patrick Ta's first palette. This one was disappointing. The shimmer shades on the top were very glitter bukkake, but like light, so it was kind of weird. They were just very messy and also very hard pan. The mattes were fine, but like not enough for me to want to keep it. The cream actually wasn't terrible, but it just, I don't know, like this is a palette that I don't think about, I don't reach for, and even with some of the okayness about it, I really hate that shimmer formula. It's so hard pressed, so hard pan. It's like getting blood from a stone. It doesn't make any sense. So for that, bye. I know, look at this relic. It's old enough to vote. And I wasn't gonna get rid of this palette because it has sentimental value to me, but I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not really touching it. This should go. But this is probably one of the more unique palettes that I had in my collection. This is from when it was Kat Von D. Ooh. And this was the palette that a lot of people had a lot of feelings about. They just thought it was really weird. And yeah, they were like, I don't like this. This is not for me, fam. And I kind of understand why, you know, now looking at it in this fashion. It can be a little jarring, especially when the colors are kind of all over the place. It's supposed to resemble like stained glass. But I will say the quality on this was fantastic. And that is the reason why I have kept it in my collection for so long. But it's just time to part ways. But yeah, a little piece of history. The next palette is from Colored Rain, and this is a Juicy Boost palette. I did enjoy this palette. I have no problems with it. I know a lot of people kind of were on the fence about it. They just didn't really find it all that amazing. I will say that the shimmers, while there's only 3, were, you know, they were okay. They were fine. But I really do love the mattes in this one. But it's just a palette that I don't really reach for, and I know it can get a good home somewhere else. Okay. Morphe! Hey Morphe, babe! I love this palette. This is a great palette. See what you will about Wacky Jackie, but she did put out a really nice palette with Morphe. But it's just something I don't really reach for. I had my time with it. It can live on somewhere else or in the trash, whatever comes first. But I did really like this palette, but you know what? Fuck Morphe. This is a fucking staple, but I had this for a little bit too long and the pigment's just not there anymore. But this is a wonderful drugstore palette. I don't know if they still create it. They should, but if they don't, I'm pretty sure you could maybe find something similar to this. But this is the Nudes of New York from Maybelline. Fantastic. It was a great palette. It's just, yeah, the pigmentation's really not there. It's a little bit too old, so we're gonna get rid of this guy. But this was good. Loved him. Hello, mother. Hello, mother dear. So we have another Pat McGrath, and this is the Divine Rose palette. I did not like this palette. The glitter shades broke me out. Not fun. Honestly, this is probably one of my least favorite Pat McGrath palettes. And I was thinking to myself, like, why am I keeping this? Like, it doesn't really make any sense. That's why she's going away. But yeah, I had such a reaction to this glitter shade. Like, really irritated the shit out of my eyes. So after that moment, I really stopped fucking with it. Now, the Divine Rose 2, bitch, that's everything. But that's not this palette. This palette is just like the shitty older sister that just, you know, peaked in high school. So fuck her. I hate this palette. This is from Chantecaille. Thank you, Chantecaille, for sending this to me, but it sucks. This is the this is the Cougar Eye palette. This was so disappointing. I'm not the biggest fan of Chantecaille eyeshadows. I think the ones that really stick out for me is the Giraffe palette. That's fantastic. The Hummingbird palette was also really nice, and I believe the Butterfly palette was also fine. This one was just disappointing. The gray and the brown barely had any pigment, had no longevity. It like lifted after like 10 minutes. It was a fucking joke. Other than having a beautiful package, there's nothing of substance in this little shit. And the same goes for this one. This is the Dior Khaki palette. This was such a disappointment. And had I known that this was going to be all satin, I say air quotes, satin shades, I probably would have never picked this up. First, you have like the weird cream shade over here that's kind of like, why the fuck do you even have this? Like, get out of here. The rest of the palette is just so one note. It was terrible. Probably one of the worst Dior palettes I've ever tried. Honestly, it's a shame because the color story is really beautiful. This palette lacked depth, especially with the gold shades. They were just so one note. So because of that, we're getting this the fuck out of here. Looky, looky, looky. We got some Scott Barnes. These weren't bad. It's just the quality is not the same anymore. So this is the highlighter palette. It lost its luster. It used to be really popping and really shiny and just like very Alien Slut, and not in a glittery way. It was just very Alien Slut, wet looking beautifulness. But lately when I've been using it, it's just very powdery, and it's like, ugh, not the same fucking shit. Now when it comes to the blushes, I really did like the blushes, but I think right now there are better blush formula out there. So I was like, do I really need this? Nah, not really. But they weren't bad. It's just, this one I think still has some life in her. This one is just a little bit lackluster, which is a shame, but meh, bye. This was disappointing. So Patrick Ta this year came out with like a holiday palette that was like a blush and highlighter thing. The cream formula was garbage. The powder formula was garbage. It starts to hard pan as well. This was probably one of the worst Patrick Ta products I have ever used. Actually, ooh, I take that back. I think the foundation was the worst thing, then followed by this. Like, this was fucking garbage. This was a waste of money. I hate that I wasted my money on this. So it's gonna go to someone else so that they can feel bad about it. Oh, Urban Decay. This is the Wild Greens palette. This was disappointing on a whole other level. One, I'm not a fan of the packaging. It's kind of stupid. The color story, it's, what is wild about this? What is green about this? I think there's literally, what, 2 greens in this whole fucking thing? Maybe 3? I don't know. It was okay. The quality is fine. I guess that's the thing. It's just okay. And it's like, why do I want things that are just okay in my collection? I am old enough to know that some things you just can't fix. Some things you just can't make good, all right? So think about that, because this not only applies here, but it also applies to relationships. Sometimes people don't change. And this is one of those things where it's like, no matter what I do, you're never gonna change. You're always just gonna be you. And that's just not good enough. So fuck it, bye. I'm a little on the fence about this one because I will say, while I haven't been the hugest fan of Makeup by Mario when it comes to eyeshadow palettes, like this one was okay. It wasn't bad, but after having it for a while now, it's something that I don't reach for. And I'm like, you know, it still has some longevity. It still has some life to it. So I might as well kind of pass this off while it's still in really good health. But yeah, I mean, it was better than his first release, but it still wasn't amazing. And I don't think I'm ever gonna pick up any other eyeshadow palette because I think for the price point, it's just overrated. It's just not for me. But the shimmers, I would say, is probably like the best part of the palette. A lot of the mattes, they're just kind of, I don't know, like they lack depth. I think a lot of these eyeshadow palettes that I'm giving away, or that I'm decluttering, I should say, just lacks depth. And it's kind of annoying that I can't create what I want out of one palette. I have to go through like multiple palettes to get what I want. And that's just, it's not what I want anymore. So yeah, we're gonna give this to a good home. Look at these makeup relics. I know, Marc Jacobs. These are fine. I had no issue with them. It's just I don't reach for them, but I did like them when I did use them. But I think I have, you know, so many eyeshadow palettes that have similar colors that I kind of just gravitate towards most. But when this brand did come out with stuff, you know, a lot of it was pretty decent. Some of it was fucking garbage, but these are the decent things. So the next one is from Ciate, and this is the Jessica Rabbit collection, and that collection sucked. But the highlighter wasn't that bad, but you know what? The highlighter as of late, it's just one that I don't really reach for, and I think it's actually a teensy bit, a little too dark for me. So if I pair it with the right blush, it kind of makes sense, but I feel like over time, it's just kind of been, you know, the shine just hasn't been there for me. So love the pan embossing. This is probably the best thing out of the whole collection, but yeah, it's pretty fucking garbage. Speaking of pretty garbage, by Terry. You know, this palette, it's a shame because it's actually in really good condition. I just feel bad really using it because I love the pan embossings. And to me, it's just like, it's a waste. But the few times that I have used it, it just, I don't know, like it wasn't anything really special. I think I was keeping it around because the pan design. And now I'm like, why? What are you doing, bitch? You don't need this. You don't need this. This can go to a good home. This can be used. But to be honest with you, the by Terry formula is just, I don't know, it's just not for me. I don't think it's anything special. It's just like a wash of color, but it's expensive for a wash of color. Like, I don't know, it's just not for me. So I did steal the brush, so I apologize to the person that's going to be getting this next. You know, get fucked, but the brush is going to be living out its life. Not so much this, but whatever. Anyway, next. More Chantecaille. This was from their summer collection, which was kind of weird. It kind of came in this like really weird neon palette. The highlighter is just way too dark for me. Also looks like a butthole, which I love. I love that it looks like a butthole, but it's just too dark for me. So this is going to get a good home to someone else. But yeah, Chantecaille, their highlighters are pretty good. They're more of like a sophisticated slut, kind of a highlighter, a demure slut, if you will. But yeah, this wasn't bad. It's just way too dark for me. If this was lighter, I would totally keep it just because it looks like a butthole. And side note, a lot of people didn't like this packaging, but I kind of liked it. It was weird and stupid. I liked it. Just wasn't for me. Speaking of more things that should just never be made, Tom Ford. Look at this one. This was their highlighter. This was one of the biggest wastes of money ever. This was so, just so, like, there's nothing unique about this. Nothing. This was, I think, like $90. This was a waste of money. So this is the Shade and Illuminate Highlighting Duo in the shade Moonlight. I love Tom Ford's complexion products. I think they make fantastic blushes. Their bronzers are awesome, but when it comes to highlighters, they are so lackluster. It's impossible to get any glow out of it. Now, I know some folks love that kind of like barely there highlighter, and good for them, but not me. I want you to see me from fucking Mars, okay? And I can't achieve that with these. These are just very flat, very dusty, and it took a lot of product to get somewhat of a bukkake glazing, but it wasn't enough for me. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is a no. No. But I do love that it comes in a drug pouch, so hope someone enjoys that. Oh, I know, I'm finally giving up the Ambersweet highlighter. This is a great highlighter. I really, really liked it. It's just something I just don't really reach for these days. But I liked it. I have no problem with the Ambersweet highlighter. It can look a little bit deep on my uncooked chicken ass, but when I do pair it with the right blush and bronzer, it does look very, very beautiful. But again, just a product I don't really reach for. Speaking of even more expensive garbage, this is from Clé de Peau, and this is the Luminizing Face Enhancer, and I love the packaging. I love the like sad little lambs. I love that. This is such a cool fucking pan design. Everything about it sounds great. This was probably one of the shittiest I still don't know what it does. Other than like putting a layer of asbestos on my face, that's all it does. It's fancy asbestos, essentially. I hate that I'm giving this away because I love the compact. I really do, but it's fine. It's totally fine. Maybe someone else might like fall in love with it, but for me, it's like, this is asbestos in like $90 packaging, essentially. Next we have is from Charlotte Tilbury, and this is the Super Nudes. I actually got this when I picked up the, oh, what the hell was it? The mystery box or whatever. This is fine. It's a fine little palette. It's okay, but I'm gonna give it to my mom because my mom's coming in like, actually when you see this video, my mom will be here on the day after. I'm gonna be like, here you go. Here, have this. This is for you. She would like these kind of neutral, basic bitch colors anyway. But yeah, the formula is fine. It's just, I have a lot of basic bitch shades and these aren't super special in my opinion out of like the Charlotte Tilbury palettes that I do own. So it's like, why am I holding on to this? The next one is from Milk Makeup, and this is the Flex Highlighter in the shade Lit. This is a great highlighter. I love this. But again, it kind of was a little bit too deep on me. I did make it work, but I couldn't go too ham because then it looked like just a stripe of shit on my face. But this was a great highlighter. Loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. We have two little lo-fi duos from Kaleidos. These were fine. These weren't too shabby. These were pretty good, but they're just products I don't really reach for. The next are some highlighters from Game Beauty. I really do like Game Beauty, but these highlighters just, they weren't it for me. They were very, very powdery. The shine was kind of like, a little too sparkly for my liking. Like, I don't mind sparkles, but these just kind of emphasized a little bit of texture for me. And they were kind of just a little too drying, too powdery. I had to constantly buff them into the skin. I don't know, like I love the concept of them. I love these like duochrome highlighters, but yeah, this just wasn't the formula for me. But yeah, love the packaging. Thought it was really cute. Love Game Beauty, but these were just not it for me. And the same goes for this Nomad highlighter. I actually picked this up a while back and yeah, it's just, it's one of the lightest highlighters that I own. And even if I do build it up, it's not like a sparkling slut of a highlighter. So that said, this is gonna go to someone else. Oh, this is so disappointing. I normally love Glamlight's highlighters. This was just too sparkly, too shitty. It wasn't anything special at all. I think the last highlighter that they did a really good job on was the Michaela highlighter. That was fantastic. I was hoping to have that same kind of a feel. These were like duochrome highlighters, which again, I don't mind duochrome highlighters, but when they're not done right, and when it's just like bullshit sparkles that just don't look good on the skin and emphasize, it's like, not really for me. But I love the cover of this. This is cool, but yeah, not for me. This I can't even open. This is from PYT Beauty and I can't even open it. That's why it's going away. The next palette is from Trust Luce, and this palette was very pretty. Very cute, but it's something I don't really reach for and I know we can get a good home somewhere else. This thing, this fucking prison soap, oh my god. So this is the brand Simi Haze Beauty. It was such a cool concept. I really wanted to like it. It was like two kinds of cream blushes. This was very expensive and I don't know, like I just didn't find anything fantastic about the formula. It was very lackluster. So other than having prison soap packaging, which I do kind of like, this was just a piece of shit, an expensive piece of shit. When it comes to the ABH cream bronzers, these are really, really good. The reason why these are departing from my life is that while I do love the formula, there's something that is like super warm and super yellow leaning and it just doesn't look good on me. It turns me into a Simpson character and it's not cute. So that's why these are departing. But I love the formula and I wish there was an actual cool tone or a neutral option. But yeah, this is just straight up yellow. So it's a no for me. More Chantecaille. These are okay. They're fine. These are just some that I don't really reach for. These are probably some of the better formula from Chantecaille. But again, it's just ones that I just don't reach for because these colors I have in other formulas that I'd rather reach for. And plus, I think when it comes to like these smaller compacts of like singles or duos, they're just, I don't know, like I just don't think about them. I rather think about a palette or something like that because it's like I can only go so far with these two. I need to look at other palettes to complete the look in my opinion. I think that's why these kind of get overlooked. So that said, that's why they're going to a good home. But yeah, these are actually pretty good for Chantecaille considering most of their eyeshadow formula is like, bleh. These weren't bad. The next one is from Fashion Fair. This one I'm getting rid of because it's just a little bit too deep for me. I tried to make this work. It just did not work on my uncooked chicken ass. It's too strong and it just looks like a bruise on my skin. I will say the powder is better than the cream. The cream is a little bit hard to work with. You really kind of have to warm it up in order for it to kind of spread evenly. I don't know why, but it just felt very, very stiff when I would use it. So that's the only like shitty thing I have to say about it. But like the powder was fantastic. It's just, even if I use an incredibly light hand, it just looks way too deep for me. So that's why she's going away. This is a complete piece of shit highlighter. This is from One Size. I love the Fantasia collection. I wanted this to work so badly. Look how cool that pan design is. Oh, can you even see it? I think you can if I just do that. The pan design is everything, but this highlighter is so deep, so dark, so sparkly, so nothing. It's the weirdest fucking highlighter. It applies, but it's not there. I don't know. It's really creepy. I don't like it. And it made me like side eye. Just the brand in general when they released this. But yeah, everything else about the collection, fantastic. Highly recommend checking out the palette if you do find it. But this is just something that you never needed. You don't need, this is dumb. You know, when it comes to Chantecaille powder products, I fucking love them. I rarely have a bad thing to say about it. This was so bad. It was so bad. It was so bad. It makes me so angry. This is supposed to be like the glow version of the blur powder. I tried, like you could see, I did some damage. I tried to make this motherfucker work. It literally does nothing. It's not even a good blurring powder. The blur powder will always be one of my favorite powders forever and ever and ever. This was just disappointing. It didn't melt into the skin. It sat on top of it. It created this weird asbestos layer. It was nothing glowy about it. It was just fucking garbage. It was probably one of the most expensive things that I picked up. And I was just so disappointed because I wanted this to work so badly. I love the packaging. I think it's really beautiful, but this was fucked up. It's fucked up. I hated it. The next product is from Ilia, and this is their cream highlighter. This is really weird. First of all, it looks like a little dick. Little chode. I did not like this micropeen. It was not good. The formula is very weird. It's very stiff feeling, and it was really, really just hard to kind of apply to the face. Even when trying to just put it with a brush, I felt like I wasn't getting any pigment, so I kind of felt like I needed to put this on my face, and when I apply it just from the stick, it takes up everything underneath. It's just so hard. Even when I tried to like warm up the product, it just was so difficult to use. So no thank you. I love Profusion, and these were, I don't know, they disappointed me. So these are some cream blushes. This kind of felt very similar to the Ilia. It's just a very, very stiff formula that when you finally do get something out, it's kind of really hard to massage into the skin. It just like overpowers the skin. It doesn't blend out beautifully. So because of that, I just kind of stopped using them. I wanted to like these because I really do love Profusion, but this just wasn't it. The next product is from Natasha Denona, and this is the Puff Paint. This I didn't mind in the beginning when I was using it because I was like, oh my God, this is like so pretty. I really love the color. And then I noticed that it has no longevity. I could blend it out on my skin. You would never know I had any product. Like it blends into nothing. So for the price point and the fact that it disappears, it's like the emperor of new blushes. It is so fucking stupid. And I hate that a lot of luxury brands have that capability where it just disappears into nothing. It's almost like a really cruel joke. Like, gotcha, bitch. I don't like that. So, no. Here's another relic from the past. We got Marc Jacobs. This is the Air Blush. You know, I mean, it's okay. It was fine. Like, I think I really just love the pan design until I fucked it up, clearly. But I always thought that this was just an okay product. There wasn't anything special or beautiful or wonderful about it. So because of that, it's like, why even bother? But yeah, she's cute, but like, she doesn't really do anything. This sucks so fucking much. Oh my God. So this is the V highlighter from Valentino. This is a complete waste. I tried so desperately to make this work. I really did. Tried and tried and tried and tried. Another product that kind of just blends into nothing. Doesn't really have any sort of luminosity. If anything, it kind of just makes you like greasy, but it doesn't look greasy, which is kind of weird, right? Like, cause I would totally respect the fact that, okay, cool. Like this feels like I'm putting a Big Mac on my face, but hey, there's gonna be some shine. No, it's like the greasiness without the shine. Make that make sense. Fuck out of here. And like, what is this? I still don't understand why the fuck, oh my God. This was disappointing on so many levels. One, it's so cheap. It's so expensive, but it's so cheap how it's made. I can't even get out of the fucking, here it is. Basically spit with sparkles. That's essentially what it is. It's a roller ball that is just wet and sparkly. That's it. It looks oily. It feels oily. It doesn't sit right on the skin. It looks like it's definitely sitting on top of the skin. It's horrible. But this is probably the worst thing about it is the fact that this is literally cheap motherfucking plastic. I want to say that this was pretty expensive. I don't remember the price offhand, but it was pricey. Isamaya is a pricey brand. And when I think of like my delicious little makeup dicks that I got, that is literally like a 3-pound lipstick, okay? I understand why it costs $90 because it's all in the packaging. This is just such a cheap bullshit packaging. I want to try to break the fucking horse just to show you how fucking cheap it is. But this is just so garbage. It's so garbage. It makes me so mad. So it's like not only does the formula suck, but the packaging's not even fucking that cool. Like it looks cool. Like you're like, oh my God, like you look like you belong to the Illuminati. And that's it. Until you put it in your hand, you're like, oh, you're a knockoff. Like... There's nothing fun about you. That's what this is. Fuck this. Here we have Little Miss Jones Road. This is so, do you see the oil? Ew, I don't even want to pick this up. I don't want to pick this up. Oh God, I think the oil, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's glued shut. Ew. You know what this looks like? Fucking peanut butter. You know how like the oil pulls to the top? That's exactly what this is. For the safety and well-being of Central Florida, I have to close this. I have to fucking throw it somewhere in a sinkhole, okay? Because this is gonna come back and kill us all. This is terrible, terrible. Ugh, ugh. Don't listen to any of those influencers. They're just trying to sell you peanut butter, okay? Anyway, moving on. Oh, this is so disappointing. So this is from Trixie Cosmetics. Oh my God, I wanted to love this so much. This is the worst palette out of the three. I almost was tempted to keep it because look how cute she is, but it's just, yeah, no, this is terrible. The blues were so patchy with some of the worst blue eyeshadow I've ever used. Absolutely not. But 10 out of 10 for packaging. The next palette is from Alter Ego, and this is the Harmony palette. This was fine. This was a fine palette, but you know, I mean, listen, I have the Natasha Denona palette and I like that one more, so it's the only reason why I'm getting rid of this one. This one broke my heart. I love Too Faced Pumpkin Pie palette. I love that palette to pieces. I was so excited to see this one, and then I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Formula just, it wasn't special. It was like every other Too Faced palette, just bullshit. The first pumpkin pie palette in the tin, it's perfection. It's utter perfection. And it's one of my favorite palettes that I've ever used in my life. Is it the best quality? No, but it's just fun to play with. This one, I was at least kind of hoping that it was gonna be like that, but instead they gave us some weird ass fucking cardboard. Like, what is this bullshit? I swear, anything that's not in the tin, get it away from me. It's never gonna fucking work. But yeah, the colors were just so lackluster. It just felt really, really one note, and it wasn't anything special, like at all. So why do I have this? No, fuck off. Oh God. I'm keeping the other Glam Light Scooby palette, but this one, I gotta be careful with it because it's kind of messy. The mattes were a joke. They were a complete fucking joke. Very patchy, very hard to work with. I just felt like it was like overall just a bruise on my face. The shimmers, you could see like they are so soft. They are so fucking soft that it completely just, I could literally hit pan. I don't know, it just wasn't for me. So I'm gonna clean this up and kind of pass this off. But the other palette isn't bad. It's just this one is fucking atrocious. The next one is from Sigma, and this is the Cor de Rosa. This was okay. This was fine. This is probably like one of my least favorite Sigma palettes. The longevity. The reason why I'm giving this away is that the longevity on this one wasn't that great. I found that the darker shades really started lifting off my eyes after like 40 minutes. No matter what primer I used or even no primer, I had the same result every time. I like the shimmers. The shimmers were fine. Some of the shades over here were okay. Some of the shades over here just was not that good. So yep, we're gonna get rid of that one. The next palette I wanna talk about is from Too Faced. This is the Pinker Times Ahead palette. This one wasn't bad. It wasn't my favorite Too Faced palette, but definitely wasn't the worst one I've ever used. I think the reason why I want to get rid of it is because the Italian Spritz palette came along. And that's the palette that literally can eat this palette for breakfast. I love the Italian Spritz one because the quality is just so fucking top notch. The mattes are perfect. The metallics are actually metallic. Like, for Too Faced anyway. It's not like the best metallic, but like really good though. Anyway, when I see this palette, there's not a lot of mattes in here. There are more shimmers, and the shimmers they're like on the pastel-y side, but they're not like super sparkly and fun like the Italian Spritz. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Like, I know I'm not gonna really be reaching for this one a lot, and I know this can get a good home somewhere else. And then last but certainly not least, we have the One Size palette. So ironically enough, I picked this up when it was on sale for Black Friday. I think it cost about $11. And even at $11, this wasn't good. I love the Fantasia palette. I love that palette so much. And this one was just so disappointing. I wanted to like it so much more because I had such a good time with the Fantasia palette. This one did not have the same quality. I found that the mattes were kind of like, meh, they were kind of bland. They felt very one note. Even when trying to blend out, I felt there was a little bit difficulty blending out. The shimmers were a little bit better than the mattes, but like nothing to really write home about. I don't know. Again, $11. I still wouldn't even pay fucking $11 for this. This one was bad. But the other One Size palette, the Fantasia palette, highly recommend. Definitely check it out if you can find it. But yeah, bye. And there you have it. That's my declutter. I'm honestly very happy. I feel lighter that I did a little spring cleaning, and I probably could do some more, but we'll do that in a couple of months. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know down below if you agree with some of my decisions or you want to call me horrible names. Let me know, because I love hearing from you. And with that said, I want to say thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it as always. Feel free to like, comment, hit that subscribe button, it's free, and hit that bell icon for notification of all my future posts. Follow me on Instagram, and to my beautiful, wonderful YouTube and Patreon members, thank you so much for keeping this delicious, disgusting, filthy, trashy, really filthy, really trashy, really gross, really disgusting, really nasty, really gross, really garbage but afloat. I couldn't do without you. I love your adorable faces, and I just can't wait to gobble you all up so you can live inside my belly and we can be one. If you want to know what is currently on my nails, everything you need to know will be listed in the description box down below. And I'll see you little pumpkins later. Bye.